Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Georgia Boston. She's a health and life coach. She helps leaders achieve energy, focus, and success by managing stress and building resilience. I'm extremely excited to be able to share her story with you guys because she's lived in a lot of different places, so it's going to be really, really fun to be able to kind of see the differences between them and how they really affect her life and how they have helped her become a better coach. Thank you so much, Georgia.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's great to be on with you.
Excellent. Is there anything else you'd like me to add to that introduction?
What else do I that was a very good introduction. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll get on to it, but I'm quite keen on helping reduce stress. Stress has been a big thing in my life, so it's my real kind of love-hate thing. And yeah, I really I noticed that through all my work that underneath a lot of health conditions or struggles in life, often there's stress or anxiety underneath it. So it's a big needle mover if you can reduce your stress. So yeah, that's my thing.
So, I guess what was life like before you got into coaching, and what was the sort of catalyst that got you into the field?
That's a good question. So before I got into coaching, so I was working corporate work, and then I had my own business working as a consultant in the kind of renewable sector. And before I became a consultant, I'd gone off work with stress. That was my story. Started my own little company, and then actually took a break when I had the kids, so when they were little. And then went through that period of kind of trying to find myself again, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I got a coach. I worked with a coach for a month or two, and I just fell in love with it. It was just overwhelmingly brilliant at opening up the possibilities, because I was thinking, there's going to be like 2 or 3 things that I can do as a job, as a career. And then I came out of those sessions thinking, well, the world is my oyster. So just loved it, and had been going through some health issues myself, and just had this kind of moment of clarity, realizing that I could learn how to be a coach and also bring in kind of my interest in well-being and become a health coach. So I trained as a health coach and as a life coach and as a transformation coach, and I kind of meld those 3 things together in my coaching practice.
That's nice. So, earlier, well, not just nice, it's really unique because, it's so many disciplines in one. But you touched on like stress.
Yeah.
So, where do I want to go with that question? What are some unusual or lesser known, like things that we wouldn't regularly expect that cause stress in our lives?
Well, it's a really interesting question, isn't it? Because I could list a bunch of things that makes one person stressed, like you, and then list the things that make me stressed, and they could be completely different, right? Because everybody's unique, everybody's having their own experience of life, everybody's got their kind of baseline kind of health level, well-being level, and we all as individuals make meaning out of any situation. And so what you could perceive as a positive experience, from my point of view, could actually be a really stressful negative experience. So, we think about workload or a difficult boss or moving or somebody close to you dying. And of course, those things are inherently stressful. But what I've come to realize is that the way we talk to ourselves, how we respond to situations, how well you balance your sugar in the day can make you feel stressed or anxious or not. So it really is an individual thing. And, I find it fascinating with my clients, just uncovering, what's coming out for them and how they've interpreted it, and sort of picking apart those stories and teaching them tools and resources to help them in that moment and next time.
Mm-hmm. To ask you this question, so you touched on sugar. Is salt as bad for stress as sugar is, or are they both really bad?
So yes, salt is an interesting one because it did get a bit of a bad rap, but we all need a little bit of salt in our diet. But my big bugbear is sugar, and the reason it's such a bugbear for me is because during that period of building up towards going off work with stress, I didn't look after myself. I sort of, like many people might, you're really busy, really stressed, you fuel yourself with caffeine and sugar and quick snacks, and then at the end of the day you're like, I need a bottle of wine because I'm so stressed and I can't sleep. And actually what I learned going through this training was the effect of sugar on that kind of blood sugar cycle that you can get yourself on, a bit like a toddler when you give a 2-year-old like some candy or a sweet, and they're like, the world is amazing, I love everything, and then 20 minutes later they're having a complete meltdown on the floor, not being able to control themselves. So we as grown-ups, as adults, we can go through the same cycle, and that cycle has an effect on your on your physical well-being and on your mental well-being. So the kind of emotional highs and lows you get going through the peaks and troughs of the sugar cycle can have a real effect on how you view things, how you view yourself. Yeah, so it's huge. It really is huge.
Can I ask you this question then? So you talked about the highs and the lows. What about if it's like natural highs and lows? Sorry, my brain's a little scattered today. I'm trying to think of the way to ask this. So for example, for me, whenever, something positive happens, like I get a new client, or, new people sign up for, like a webinar or training or something, I always get excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, this person's taking action, improving their lives. But then there's also negatives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's good to have those highs and lows, or are you a person who likes to be more in the middle?
So it's a really interesting question because I think it's really important that we all kind of accept the feelings and emotions that we get. Yeah, so if we're experiencing some kind of low, it's really important to kind of lean into it and figure out for yourself. It's quite interesting, why am I feeling low? So I've just got a client and I've been really up, and now all of a sudden I feel down, and it's to really lean into that and understand what's happening for you, rather than trying to pretend that we don't have those emotions, because they're there for a reason. They're like little messengers trying to tell us something that we can explore and get the nugget out of and then move on. So I think it is important to feel into those things, and I do encourage my clients to change to a more positive mindset. So start seeing what's going well and what's working for them, and really focusing on the positive rather than focusing on the negative.
Mm-hmm.
But really allowing themselves, if they feel sad, to feel sad and let it out, because those emotions, if we don't allow our bodies to experience them, then they get stuck in our bodies, like in our organs. Yeah. So actually it's really important for your health and well-being to feel those. And often underneath those, the highs and lows, often underneath that is fear, isn't it? It's fear of something. And so so what is this triggering? What am I afraid of? What am I afraid might happen now? Might be the question you could kind of toy with in those moments and see what's coming up for you.
In the happy parts too? You think there's fear in the happiness?
No, when we start feeling that kind of tension and the negative, it's often fear of something.
So, tension stored in your body, right? When we don't acknowledge our feelings. Do you have any ways to release that, or is it just it gets stored until you crash, or you know what I mean? Like,
and that will happen, right? So if you don't, if you bottle stuff up, we all know what happens. There's some kind of meltdown, isn't there, at the end? I remember really well going to see that movie Hope Floats with Sandra Bullock. It's old. It's like probably 20 years old now. It's a really lovely film, and I just cried and cried and cried. I must have cried for 2 hours after. it wasn't the film. There was something in the film that triggered a release of all of these emotions that I hadn't allowed myself to feel. So yeah, I mean, trying different things and find something that works for you. So journaling can be really powerful. That's a really good way of getting those thoughts and feelings down on paper, even if it actually doesn't make any sense as you're writing it. It doesn't have to read like something that you might want to publish, but just getting your thoughts on paper is a good way of getting rid of those, or talking to somebody, obviously. And sometimes we want to move our bodies. Like sometimes that's, if you're feeling like frustration or anger, actually, if you want to release that, going to move your body, do some exercise. It's a good way of kind of releasing the energy that's associated with those emotions. So a couple of tips there.
Yes. So what is the vision, just kind of switching gears, what's the vision for your life?
That's a really good, it's as coaches, we talk a lot about vision, don't we? We sort of kind of can be a place where you start with a new client, and for me, it's not always easy for me to see the vision of what I want, but I know I've really kind of got to grips with what I want my life to look like. And and it's really important that I'm helping other people to get out of that stress cycle and actually to feel really good and have joy in their lives, and be thriving, like, working in the job that they want to work and also enjoying their life and their family time. So that's really important as a vision for me, but also, having that balance, to be there, spend time with my kids and my husband, and that family time is super important to me. So for me, that, that vision of building this further, really supporting as many people as I can, and having that space and that time, that energy for my family.
Okay, nice. Do you have any special projects going on? A book, course, conference plan?
I'm working on a couple of sort of programs. I do. I help individuals, and I also help businesses with well-being programs, either as a kind of general program or specifically around stress and resilience. So I'm working on a program that I can, that corporate can use if they want to do it that way, rather than, let's say, me coming in and doing bespoke workshops, and also working on a program for individuals as well, rather than a kind of bespoke tailored coaching program. And a book, that's such an interesting question, because there's always those ideas floating around, and I'd love to write a book. So that's definitely somewhere in the future. Maybe not right now, the kids flying around the house.
How can people learn more about you, and where can they go to connect with you?
So I'm mostly on LinkedIn. So Georgia Boston on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with you. I do a little bit on Instagram, and that's GB, I can't remember my handle, GB Health Coaching. Also on Facebook. But mostly I'm on LinkedIn.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much for doing this today. I really appreciate your time, and it was fun to talk to you and learn some new things.
Yeah, it's been great talking to you too.
Nice. And for those watching, we really appreciate your time, really appreciate you, coming and seeing this conversation. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about how to take steps to improve your life, and you want to be around people who are improving their lives every day and helping others do the same, then I recommend you go and check out our free community on either Facebook or LinkedIn. There's going to be some links either above or below the video, depending on where you're seeing it. It's just a community where we mastermind together and, lift each other up. So if that is what you are interested in, I recommend you go ahead and click on the link either above or below the video. I cannot wait to see you inside of our community. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this video as much as we enjoyed creating it. Feel free to hit that share button so other people can get some benefit as well. Talk to you soon. Have a great day. We're done recording in 3, 2, and 1.